Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Monica from Crafting with Quilling Lady and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. In this video I'm going to show you how to create this Autumn Slimline card using a free gift from Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine issue 220. The free gift is called Autumn Blessings and it has a variety of beautiful leaf stamps, also a pumpkin, a mug and this absolutely amazing sunflower. And that's exactly what we're going to use in today's project. It also comes with a small stamp set from Crafter's Companion with 2 stamps to create a small sunflower and a cutting die. For today's project we're going to use watercolor card and we're going to stamp the sunflower and leaves using brown Archival ink, which is waterproof. Because we're going to use aqua pens later on, so we have to make sure that our outline won't bleed. In the top right corner, you can also check my other video where I used exactly the same stamp set and I created a really simple bridge card. Coming back to this project, as you can see, this is super simple. You literally just stamp 2 images and now use any watercolor or aqua markers you've got in your stash, add tiny bit of color on all the petals. Just make sure you've got a variety of some yellows, oranges and maybe a little bit of red, and then literally just use a wet paintbrush to move the color around to have these beautiful highlights and shadows on all the petals, and it works magically here. That's why I really love using watercolor markers. Do you use watercolor markers in your projects? Please let me know in the comments down below. And now I'm going to use this green. This one is called Sage and it comes from Botanic Natural. And all the names of the pens and supplies will be in the description down below, so you can check them out. And what I absolutely love about any watercolor markers or aqua markers, that you literally can layer the colors on top for a really beautiful watercolor effect. It's absolutely amazing. Just make sure that every single layer is dry before you put another one. And our first image is done, so we just have to fussy cut them. Super simple and quick. Whenever I fussy cut my stamped images, I always leave a small white gap. Do you do that in your projects? Do you leave some small gaps when you fussy cut them? Some people don't like them, and I wonder which one are you? Do you leave the gap or you don't? Okay, so as you can see, I really like fussy cutting, so I'm not very sad or upset that they didn't include any cutting dies in this set. I'm really happy to fussy cut any images, so yes, let's go with the flow. And that will be our focal point of the card. And this sunflower is actually perfect for any slimline card because as you can see, it is pretty tall. Now it is time to create our card base and I'm going to use my scoreboard as you can see, and I've got a piece of paper which is 18 by 21 centimeters and I'm going to score it at 9 centimeters to have exactly the score line in the middle for our card. Super simple, quick and easy. And actually for any slimline cards, you don't have to follow any directions. You literally create your own card base. And here I also have 2 mats and layers for the card, which are slightly smaller than the card base. And I'm going to start with the bigger one and I'm going to use carved pumpkin distress oxide to add the color on all those edges. You don't have to have colored cardstock. You literally just apply any ink or aqua marker or alcohol marker for all those layers. No one will ever notice and it will be beautiful. For this one, I decided to use mustard seed and carved pumpkin and I'm going to stamp those small sunflowers. And here on the left, I've got a piece of card to stamp off the excess of the ink, because I wanted to check how much ink goes on the stamp. I didn't want that bright color here, just a little bit muted. Have you ever used layering stamping in your crafting journey? How do you like them? How often do you use them? Do you use flowers or maybe different images? Which is your preference? With the orange here, I decided to stamp off the excess of the ink on the scrap paper, and I think that worked pretty well. Do you do that? Do you stamp off the excess of the ink? And now I decided to add some Walnut stain, Distress Oxide, for the background color. And as you can see, I'm not very perfect here. I literally just go between all those images. You don't have to be exact here, because we're going to add some water splashes later on for really nice watercolor effects. When you add colors to your backgrounds, what inks do you use? Do you prefer Distress Oxide inks or just Distress inks? Which one do you like? And now, as you can see, I've got a cotton bud, and I'm going to add that brown color inside my sunflowers, because I don't have a small dabber, and cotton buds work absolutely perfect for this trick here. Have I ever used them in your stamping? As you can see, it is pretty quick and easy to do. And now I decided to put some more yellow on my sunflowers, so I'm going to use a wet paintbrush and add that more yellow on all those petals. It goes really quickly and it's super simple. And with Distress Oxide, actually they are pretty opaque, so you can layer those colors on top. Just make sure that the previous layers are dry, as usual. And as you can see, I'm not using lots of different supplies, literally just 3 Distress Oxides and a couple of Aqua Markers. Super simple, quick and easy. Do you like creating slimline cards, or do you prefer the normal cards, as we call them, like 5 by 7 or 6 by 6 inches? Now I'm using my spray bottle and I'm putting a few drops of water, and I'm getting the excess of water with tissue. And now I've got that watercolor effect. Super simple, quick and easy. I just made sure that my paper is totally dry before I'm adding again this Distress Oxide Walnut stain. I really like those distress edges. Now I stuck my panels together and I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday. I'm using my anti-static bag and I'm going to use Versamark ink, which is clear, transparent and sticky ink. And then I'm going to use gold embossing powder. You can use any embossing powder you've got in your stash. I just wanted to add a little bit of gold because I think it goes so well with all those autumn colors. Do you like adding gold color to any of your autumn projects? And now I thought it would be a great idea to actually add some color on top. But before I do that, I have to use a heat tool and melt all that embossing powder. And again, I'm using the same Distress Oxide inks, which is Carved Pumpkin and Walnut stain, and add all those colors on this banner. If you don't have a cutting die to create any banners, you can literally use scissors and create them yourself. They are pretty simple to do. Now I'm using a tissue to get rid of the excess of the ink on top of the embossing, and that works magically well. Now I'm going to use black fine liner, and I thought it would be a great idea to add some small dash lines everywhere. I thought this card was missing just a little bit of detail, and this way my card has more interest and I think it is more beautiful as well. So it is pretty simple, quick and easy. And as you can see, I'm adding those dash lines on both the orange frame and then my inside panel. And I really like that technique. Now I decided to add some ribbons, and I used that one from my stash. And to give it even more interest, I'm applying that carved pumpkin on the edges, because I thought it would go well with all the colors on the card. And to attach all those ribbons on my card, I'm using red liner tape. As you can see, I'm putting it only literally in the middle, and then using a pokey tool, I'm getting rid of that peel off tape, and it is time to put the ribbon on the card. Super simple, quick and easy. Now I also found this one, which is like yellow and gold, and again I'm putting exactly the same red liner tape on it, because with any ribbon it works perfectly fine, and I found that it is much better than liquid glue with all the ribbons. So as you can see, I'm going to create those layers of interest and ribbon. Do you use ribbons in your cards? How do you use them? And do you mix and match your ribbons? Because I thought for this one I would go with 3 different kinds of ribbon, and I really like that look. What do you think about all those 3 ribbons together? As you can see, this one is really dark brown, so my camera didn't really catch it earlier. But in the end, it works really well with all those sunflowers that I created earlier using Distress Oxide inks. And now I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back of my panel, and then use liquid glue and attach it to my card base. I always do that after I put all those ribbons on first. And again, I'm using my pokey tool and my nail to get rid of all that double-sided tape, and our card is nearly done. I attached that sunflower. It's time to add a small bow with the same brown ribbon, and then to add even more dimension, I use double-sided foam adhesive and put on the back on the banner. As you can see, I've got 1 layer, and then on one side I've got 3 layers for that extra dimension. It doesn't take that long, but your card will be stunning. I really promise you that. So our card is nearly done. The last bit is to add some small orange gems, and as you know me, I absolutely love small gems. As you can see, I added them in the corners, also on the banner, and our card is done. What do you think about it? Do you like that color combination, or do you like that slimline card look? On the left you can also check my other card video with sunflowers, and on the right with autumn leaves. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting. Don't forget to like this video,